Hi everybody! Welcome back to my corner. Can't wait to talk to you guys today. So, as promised, I did the fun kind of research. I watched the entire season of Fallout. There's another season on the way. I cannot wait. Um, One of the reasons why I wanted to do this video so badly is I was thinking about how corporations and corporate America has gotten so kind of convoluted with everything that's going on. We have corporations that might as well be miniature governments. We have entire agencies and departments dedicated to maintaining workforce involvement, whatever that means, right? And a lot of these different companies, especially the bigger ones, have this issue where they're not able to maintain the happiness of their workforce because it's not always about the benefits. It's often a mixture of how they're being treated, what the practices and policies are, and all of those kind of go hand in hand. When you have a handbook that gets rid of responsibility on the individual and basically takes an authoritarian approach to the way it handles its workforce, you end up with very unhappy people. And so the cool thing about Fallout is that if you follow our primary characters throughout the story, you realize that it is a true reflection of corporate America. Right here, I'm going to add a disclaimer that going forward, we're going to have some spoilers for the series or the first season. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, please check it out. But at this point, you have been warned, and let's get back into it. So we meet our first character in the series, Lucy McLean, and her father, Hank McLean. These wonderful individuals get bombarded by raiders at the beginning of the series, and it looks very gruesome, right? Everything is just falling apart, people are getting killed left and right, and the one thing that you can really appreciate from the opening scenes in this series is just how over the top it is. The reason why I wanted to bring this up is because you get this reality check. It makes me think of your career. You show up every day on time, sometimes you're early, you're taking your work home with you, you feel really good about what you do. But in a split second, all of that can be whisked away like it's nothing. And you just lost everything. And for a moment there, you're incredibly shocked, you're depressed, you're anxious, and you're wondering why all of this had to happen. And you're looking for someone or something to blame. And all of this keeps compounding, taken by a mysterious woman that no one knows anything about, Moldaver. And Lucy is on a mission to find her father. And so I look at that as the game of life. The more you learn, are you willing to capitulate and stay where you're at, even if you're miserable? Or are you going to do hard things, move forward, take that pride, take that dedication that you have dedicated to your career in the past, and move forward and try and do something new? Try and understand something. Something she says often is okie dokie, right? You're going back to a time when it's almost like 1950 never ended. And so all of this is compiling a story, not just a legacy of what has already happened, but what is going to happen, and those new goals you're out there to achieve. And so I think it is often imperative that when you're faced with these challenges, you can either embrace them with grace and the phrase okie dokie, it has already happened, there's nothing I can do about it, so it's best we move on. Or are you going to stand by the wayside, wallow in your misery, and say, well, that sucks. Father's gone. Half of the people I cared about are gone. Don't care. I'm just going to do my thing. No, chances are you're going to take matters into your own hands. You're going to create that new path. You're going to move forward. As we approach the halfway mark, some new characters are introduced. Maximus, and he is surrounded by the Brotherhood of Steel. What is the Brotherhood of Steel? The Brotherhood of Steel is an organization that wants total control. They're about as authoritarian as you can get. And that is where it gets really scary, because a lot of these companies think that they're giving all of these opportunities to their workers, right? These large Fortune 500 companies think that they are doing things in the best interest of the worker. But we can look at history, and we don't even have to look that far. Unions have been around for a very long time, and something interesting is that Disney, not too long ago, unionized. It happened during some creative differences with interns and the actual creators of some of our favorite animated films. It wasn't necessarily to get paid more, it was to get the recognition that they deserved. The interns weren't just creating storyboards and ideas, they were writing scripts. People had dialogue in these films that were written by these interns, and they weren't even getting recognition. And so they fought and fought and fought, and eventually they got it, right? They got the recognition that they deserved. And something similar happened relatively recently, right? We go back a couple years during the writers' strikes, and those exact same issues were happening all over again. I seem to see patterns, right, where things occur in 30 to 40 year periods. We're looking at a TV series currently that is showcasing what that is really like. You're going from a large mega corporation such as Vault-Tec. Vault-Tec is almost a monopoly, and they have so much control. What do? They drop the bomb themselves. The end of the world brings a lot of opportunities and a lot of money for a lot of different people. Some of the consequences they don't even see, because they're thinking, well, how can we be here 100, 200, 300, 400 years from now? They want to be the end. They don't want the government, who is already failing, to be the end. What is to say that the Brotherhood of Steel is any different? They are collecting these ancient artifacts in this reimagined world, and it's intense. There's things out there that people don't even understand or remember or know the importance of or know how they work. As we get closer to the end point, one of the craziest things happens, right? We get a little bit of backstory. One of the characters that is chasing our hero, Lucy, is the Ghoul. He is not only a bounty hunter, but he is a complex character. Before he was a Ghoul, he was Cooper Howard. And what was his profession? He was an actor. Not just any actor, an A-list actor. Someone well known throughout Hollywood. Also a former veteran. Someone who served their country well and did wonderful things for the United States. However, as things progressed, his wife, who was employed at Vault-Tec, he got concerned. He started talking to some people, and he got curious. When people get curious, they often go places they shouldn't. Not to say that that's a problem. I think that is the right decision. I think being curious is what helps you elevate your career. It's what helps you move forward in the workplace, right? They tell you that you should be changing jobs every 3 to 4 years to increase your income, that you shouldn't stay with the same company long term. That used to be the case, 50, 60 years ago. That is no longer the case. In order to get that upward mobility and your wage increase that you deserve, you often have to leave your companies that you're working for. But back to our characters, right? As Cooper Howard is spying on his wife, he listens in on a conversation he's not supposed to be a part of. And he gets lambasted right off the get-go, and then realizes his wife is a part of something much more nefarious than he originally thought. And so because of that, we don't know what happens. But the two things we do know is he gets separated from his wife and his child. We also know that he got divorced. We know that in the first episode. When you experience hard times and your marriage isn't strong enough, those relationships that you've cultivated are falling apart, chances are divorce is inevitably what happens. The question becomes, what are you divorced from? Are you divorced from your career? Are you divorced from your spouse? Are you divorced from the reality you find yourself in? I believe that a lot of people in our modern world allow their lives to be dictated not by who they are as a person, but by the companies they work for, by the family members in their inner circles. They can be constructive, they can be destructive, they can be uplifting, they can be manipulating. All of those things are true, and then some. And oftentimes, they all coexist at the same time. And I believe that right now, as we're looking at a lot of these TV shows and movies that are coming out, they're showcasing the reality that we are currently in and the future that we could have because of all of the crazy things that we experience. And so, look at the ending of the series, shall we? We find Lucy reunited with her father. And here is where we start to learn the truth. Hank isn't who he says he is. Hank has been alive for over 300 years. He destroyed an entire civilization because it wasn't under his control. A lot of times when you have these large corporations, these large agencies, these large companies, they often look at everyone as cannon fodder. Everyone is the same. Everyone is expendable. Everyone has talents. Everyone has weaknesses. And the larger a company gets, they might as well all be the same. And so when you get to that point, how do you internalize all of the different factors that are in play? Are you going to A, destroy everything you thought you knew? Are you going to let that heartbreak set in? Are you going to let that rule you? I don't like to live that way. A lot of people end up feeling that way because by the time they do get laid off, they had been in that career for 10, 20, 30 years. And they don't feel like they can start over because they feel like they're past the age to start something new. You're never too old to start something new. And I truly believe that. I've seen so many people in their 60s and 70s going in and sitting in college classrooms. You can do all sorts of crazy things that help you stay sharp or help inform you of something new. One of the comedic questions I often ask is, what is the difference between an 80-year-old and a 5-year-old? The answer is pant size. Some people might joke about something else, but it literally comes down to that. When you're 80 and you're going around, you're not working as often, you're still learning things every single day, and you're keeping your mind sharp by doing something new, something exciting. When you're 5, everything is big, everything is grandiose, everything is a new opportunity. 80 years old is no different. You have so many chances and opportunities ahead of you, and regardless of how old you get, how sick you get, how frail you get, you still have all of these opportunities to keep growing, to keep learning. And one of the things that I love about Fallout is that is the one thing it keeps showcasing. And one of the phrases from the video games that it made its way into the show is, "Thou shalt get sidetracked by bullshit every goddamn time." And the reason why that is such a funny phrase is because that's reality. You have no idea what tomorrow brings. You have no idea what your career is going to end up becoming. You have no idea if you're going to start somewhere and end somewhere else. I look at my father as a great example of this. He started as a concrete worker, and now he's a superintendent for a large company. You have no idea what your start point or your end point is going to be. And he is still progressing in his career. He's not even at the end point. When you watch these TV series, when you watch these movies, when you play these video games, don't just watch it for blind amusement. It's a story, and the stories help us learn. If you are a Christian, you believe in scriptural references. Most of those stories in the Bible, in other scripture, are parables. What is a parable? A parable is a comparable. A comparable is a story. It's what you find relating to you. It is what you find admirable about everything around us. You can get distracted by the toxic climate. You can get distracted by all of the terrible things that are happening. You can get distracted by the terrible things that are happening to our environment. But complaining about it, dwelling on it, is not going to do anything. Do something about it. Say something. The people that often say something are the first ones to get let go. Why? Because confrontation leads to a hard conversation, and a hard conversation leads to discomfort. When you have discomfort, when we have so many modern conveniences and comforts, it is easier to just let the problem go. I have loved making this video. It's been super fun. And if you have any ideas of what I can talk about next, please put them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And until next time, this has been my Coffee Corner, and I'll catch you on the next one.